Hey gamers, I'm in the middle of having this discussion with my chat. We're talking about the, 3.2. It's coming to an end here. I realized I never posted a video about it, and so, I might as well make the time to talk about it, right, since we are. I'll just reiterate what I just said to my chat. My opinion of the 3.2 story is, like, I don't hate it. I understand why people dislike it. But honestly, my personal feelings on it is everything that was not casterized was actually good. And I don't really care for the casterized stuff. I find the ideological battle that Anaxa had with the Council of Elders and the Flame Chasers way more interesting than the rest of the story, right? And that's a small segment of it. Um, Anaxa really just stole the show for me personally. Uh, and that's where I want to start with this, right? Mostly because that's the main thing that I really um care about, right? I didn't really care for the casterized stuff, or the other stuff that the story had. I mean, like, I understand if the people that were disappointed for like what they did with Castorize, but here's the thing that happened. This was what was supposed to happen. The whole point of her character is pretty much just proving Anaxa right. That it's a cyclical world. It's gonna reset based on the Flame Chasers becoming Titans, right? She was just assuming her role. They had told us this for the past two patches, right? That Castorice is going to assume her role as the Titan of Death. This was going to happen. And so, like, I don't know what people were expecting, because I saw some people comment this, but, like, I don't know what people were expecting about, oh, they didn't do anything with her after she entered the Nether Realm. Like, she wasn't going to. That was her goal. So she done that, right? So, like, and, like, at least for me personally, I'm not the biggest Castorice fan. If you've been watching me, you know this. Um, but like that was just like I was less engaged with that than the other stuff of the actual story, right? And so I got Buster here that was commenting how they spent 40 minutes on their stream talking about it, how bad it was, which yeah, I think that's valid. We get to the tower, we talk to the mandatory ghost that told us everything about Castorize and his sister, and then the very next room we talk to another mandatory ghost that tells us the exact same thing. At that point I was so tilted, like, God, strike me down. Yeah, I mean, that's one of the things, like, that's the flaw that they have with like Star Wars storytelling in general, is like, I wouldn't say it's becoming like Genshinified. I mean, to an extent it is, you could say. Um but I would expect for the writers to respect the audience and not reiterate like information that we already knew, right? Like, they did this whole big scene and they did all this effort and they literally put a animation into the game, right, to get you to be connected to Castorice. But we know in this scenario she's like the only one who's fine. It was literally her, like, her fate. Get it? It was literally her fate to like do this exact thing. Like, I don't know what like the expectation was, like, and I don't know why they had to like tell us 50 times. It's like we already knew this was gonna happen. How done you were with life. See, like, I wasn't done with life, because as I said, like, I do like parts of it, but as a whole, it's like it's what I said at the start, like before this anniversary, right? I don't know if that video ever went up or if it's in any of the videos. It might be. Um, but I was saying that going into this anniversary, right? This patch, it seems way less hyped than it was going into the last anniversary patch, right? Um, and I think I was just proven right, to be honest. Story wise and content wise, because for whatever reason, once again, these, I don't know what's wrong with the devs. This was more of a last patch, but they really sat here and were like, yeah, our main content is going to be simulated universe. Have fun, right? Like, look. Here's the thing. I like this event, this Tycoon event. It's great, but you're never going to convince me that triple drops are like peak content. Brother, nobody gives a fuck about this. This should be, first off, this should be mandatory add-ons for anniversary, okay? And then you should have other main content. Their main content was a tycoon event that you only do over like 3 days. It's like 3-day logins, you're done, right? And then we have this Seal Slammers event, which is pretty decent actually. But it's so small in scale, you hardly do anything. Right? It's like there's not that much here. Like, it's good, don't get me wrong, but there's really not that much. Like, the story part, it's fine, whatever. Nobody really cares about the story of the event, right? But that's it. That's all we got. We got, like, a couple of daily logins worth for the Tycoon, and then we got, you know, a couple of days of Seal Slammers. That's it. Like, what the fuck? Like, am I not the only one that's, like, disappointed content-wise as well with the patch? Like, let alone story? The things with 3.2 I liked, Cypher and her boobs, and that's it. I mean, I agree. True. Cypher is peak. Yeah, I can agree with that, it being peak side content. I don't know. There's no way people can be happy about this, right? It's like, I don't know what's going on with the Star Rail team, but like this 3.x cycle, it's been a lot of, in my opinion, it's been a lot more misses than hits, right? Granted, I think My Day was a pretty big hit. But yeah, I don't know. I just, I can't get over like how most of the story is, in my opinion, pretty forgettable. Like the 3.2 story. Like the thing that sticks in my mind the most is Anoxa's shit. With how, you know, he did everything to try to avoid being a part of the Core Flame, despite knowing the whole time that it was inevitable. And again, him being on their side the whole time, but just wanting to see the outcome. And, you know, ended up being proved right. Right? Like his stuff I found way more interesting because it's actually taking the lore of the world and putting it into the story and telling the player, like, it's basically telling the player the lore of the world, pretty much, right? Without them having to, like, go in to find all the, like, 50 interactables and figure it out. And then the other half is just us following Castor Ice around for, like, you know, 2 hours. And Cypher makes her cameo. And it's like, I don't know, I just feel proven right about this whole anniversary, which sucks because I wanted it to be different. And since we already have the information now, it's fine for me to talk about it. Why the hell is 3.4 the actual anniversary update? Like, let's be real here. This ain't an anniversary. 3.4, the Fate update, that's a real anniversary, bro. Because what in the fuck? You cannot be sitting there and tell me that this is an anniversary patch and then show me, you know, that in 3 months when we get 3.4, right? It's like, oh, here's 2 collab characters. Here's a, you know, one of our most hyped characters of this update cycle, right? Here's 4 characters getting their kits buffed. You know, here's a Fate-based event. Like, you cannot tell me that this is an anniversary and then look at 3.4 and tell me that's not the real anniversary. Because 3.4 looks like the best patch that we're going to have in this entire game's existence. And then you're going to tell me that this is the anniversary patch? This doesn't make any sense. 3.4, 7 brand new kits. This, 1.5. I don't... It doesn't make any sense, bro. It actually does not make any sense. Also, Archer is free. One of these characters weren't free. We got a free, you know, Ruome Locha, but if you actually know about how the game functions, most players should be saving their free 5-star. Unless you're a newer player, then you should have been picked up Ruan Mei. Um, so it's like, I don't. The word that comes to mind is disappointment, which is unfortunate because I actually like Star Rail, but there's been a lot more misses than hits as of late. And that shouldn't be the case for an anniversary patch. Also funny, speaking of My Day, I never noticed how no one in Emphorius does anything of relevance except My Day. He always shows up whenever something big is happening to deal with it solo. You're right. Yep. Yep. My Day is him. It's like, I don't. I've seen rumors go around that and actually I think this was quoted by Dway. Somebody can correct me in the comment section, I'm sure. Or maybe you can pull it up if you want. But if I remember correctly, there was an interview from Dway pretty recently that he was disappointed, or I guess him and the executives were disappointed at the release of Zenless and what's going on with Star Rail right now, like the 3.0 cycle, and that they're doing some internal like changes for both games. Now, granted, we've seen a bunch of the changes for Zenless already, negatively and positively. But I do find that's really interesting that even the CEO is disappointed with the direction that Star Rail is right now. And so I am curious to see if we'll see those changes in those further updates. Because like, while I am glazing the hell out of 3.4, come update day, it could be shit. To be completely fair, all right, it could be bad. Like, to be fair, but at least to me, I think they could recover, but it's just kind of mid, kind of mid. How did no one supervise the guy writing the slop? Isn't this the? I'd have to double check. I honestly don't even know who the writer for this was. I could probably pull that up. Just like pull it up. Chess. Yeah. I'm spelling it wrong. Whatever. Oof. That's a leak subreddit. We're not gonna show that. The guy that showed up at Pinnacle. Yeah, wasn't he the Honkai Impact guy? The 3.x Trailblaze missions will be guided by Fwanchan, aka Greenland Sailboats. Greenland Sailboat is the one writer from Honkai Impact 3rd. Okay, the Durandal and anti-entropy lore. So Welt's lore. Well, he's not a bad writer if he locks in. He's written some pretty good stuff that has done a lot for certain characters, especially Durandal. Yeah. Okay, so there's some mixed responses from him, but I'm asking this because again, I'm not the most in tune with Honkai Impact story, and I think the writing is probably what many people have an issue with. Durandal and the anti lore are background pieces at best, so even if you fucked up those, it wouldn't matter too much. Okay, that is some good insight. Yeah. I think that's totally fair. It's like it's fine if you can like change the background stuff, but if it's like the main content that people are there to play through, that gets a bit messy, right? And again, obviously there's other writers. It's not just the one guy, right? It's a team based thing. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It's like with how successful Bellabog was, and for the most part successful, great, like at least the opening part to Penacony, right? The opening to Penacony, in the middle part, I would say. I'm surprised they kind of just like missed like the rest of it. You know what I mean? Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. I think the turning point that cooked it, that you know what? I think here crackpot theory. Crackpot theory. I think the turning point that like kind of fucked up Star Rail was 2.6. I think 2.6 onward, somebody was smoking a big one, and has and that has just like lingered. That has just lingered constantly and is poisoning the rest of the game. 2.6 got to be like the worst update in Honkai Star Rail history. And I don't think we've recovered too much. I, I don't know. I don't know. Like 6 chapters though, like 8. There no lore again is like 3 chapters. Hmm. Yes, the 2.6 was the wrap-up patch with the monkeys, where we go to the university and we fuck around with the slumber nanas for like 2 hours and do a fucking rhythm event, and that was it. We've been cooked for a minute. we've been cooked for a minute if we're being real. But that is a bit of a tangent. That's a bit of a tangent. I do want to like circle back to like the main thing, right? Is that, as I've been saying for months now, this patch, it the what I felt from the community wasn't the biggest hype thing. Obviously, you got a bunch of casterized sims, is what it is. Just like back then when you had a bunch of Acheron sims, you still do, right? But the overall community response, it didn't feel as positive as previously, um, which already wasn't a good sign. And then their expectations, in some cases, were not met. Um, as well as the fact that there's like, this is another, I haven't mentioned this yet. The fact that half the anniversary content is like paid events, or I guess quote unquote content. Ow. Ow. Half the stuff, like there's like a whole page dedicated to paid events, right? For the spend money update, like that's one. And then obviously there's the story issues, minor gameplay ones, like how again people to this day still feel the pressure of things like power creep, which that is a bigger issue that I don't think is like specifically that I should really get into this video. But to me, I still think we're on a downward trend, and it's gonna take, I'd say, quite a bit to get to an upward trend for Star Rail again, right? That's just my opinion. Maybe other people feel differently about that, like, or maybe they think that we're not in a downward trend, right? That things are getting better, but like, at least for me, I think they've done some pretty big misses within the past few updates with rare hits. I don't know. It doesn't feel the same as like going into Penacony and everybody's like, this is peak. Obviously, like on retrospective, it'd be more critical of Penacony, right? Where like, oh, it's contrived, whatever, right? So it's like that's totally fair. But the feel of going through it is not the same. The Durandal thing's like 10% of the game. Next planet is Silverwolf's hometown. If they fuck that up, the game is unironically dead, if not more dead than Genshin. Ooh. To be fair, Edo Star is where I wanted to go in the first place. Because I think listen, Space Japan, that's gas. All right. I don't want to see any hate for Space Japan. The idea of Space Japan is just gas. It's gas. It's gas. Ooh, wow, this account needs some work. Holy. Yeah, chat. Before we end the video, I'm letting Buster type this stuff out. I think I've made pretty clear my thoughts on it. There's issues with event content, issues with the main story content, and that we've been on a kind of downward trend, right? I think I've explained everything pretty well. I think. I don't know. I be a yapper sometimes. I am still looking forward to like future updates. But like I don't know. It's kind of rough. Kind of rough right now. A Noxus 3 minute speech was long. What the fuck? Okay, yeah, it was a bit long. True. But as I said earlier, like I like his stuff a bit more. I like his stuff than the caster stuff. So yeah, let me know your thoughts down below, right? What do you think of the update? As I said, it's like there's been issues. We're in kind of a downward trend. Hopefully it recovers, right? Especially by the time 3.4 comes out. Because as a Fate fan, I'm excited. I'm really excited. This is unironically, call it a hot take. This is the best Fate has looked. Okay, except for like the one I think it was Samurai Remnant. Samurai Remnant. The other Fate games they don't look as impressive. Okay, just saying. But yeah, I think we'll end the video there. Like, subscribe to me on Twitch, and I'll see you in the next one.